Just say a quick hi, introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is David Cohen. I'm a Belgian cellist and I'm very much looking forward to perform the Saint-Saëns Cello Concerto at this wonderful festival.
First question. What or who is always sure to bring a smile to your face?
Well, that will always be my daughter. No matter how naughty she is, she always somehow manages to bring a smile to my face.
Perfect. Your weirdest or craziest concert experience?
Actually, that was, I was asked this recently. It was in Vietnam. We were performing in one of these old colonial French theaters. And there was a massive storm and I was performing a piece by Paganini. And while we were playing, a lightning struck and all the lights went out. It was totally pitch black. And we just carried on playing, you know, the show must go on. We just kept going. And what was really magical is that people started using their phones with their lights to try and kind of see, but it sounded like almost like a pop concert. And then this piece finishes with an enormous, fast variation and a big climax at the end. And when I finished with the very last note, which is incredibly high and very triumphant, the light suddenly went back up again and there was the most incredible roar from the audience, and to this day it stays as one of my most memorable performances.
Fantastic. Are you sure it wasn't staged, David?
You know what? It should have been, and I think that if you try to do it now, I don't think it would be possible to stage it.
Oh, fantastic. Okay, what piece could you listen to on repeat?
Goldberg Variations.
Great.
Without falling asleep, even though the intent was to fall asleep.
Salty or sweet?
Oh, sweet. Oh, yes.
Coffee or tea?
Oh, that's a difficult one. I go through phases. Right now, coffee.
Right. Beer or wine?
Wine, even though I know I'm Belgian, but yes, wine.
Could you explain how you...
Sorry, it's my colleagues.
Your friends over there,
They
yes.
also are not happy that I said wine.
Your Belgian duck friends, yes? Could you explain how you came to play your current Montagnana and perhaps the various instruments that led up to it?
Oh, that's a really long story. I'm gonna try to make it really short.
Just tell the story and then we could, you know.
So, I was lucky enough when I was about 18 years old to be approached by really dear friends and sponsors who wanted to help me get a better instrument. That led to literally a European wide search for a special instrument, and with the money that I had at my disposal, I was able to have a wonderful Jean-Baptiste Villaume, which was my cello for a long time, and still is actually. When I actually started my job at the Philharmonia Orchestra as principal cello, the general manager approached me and said, "Oh, you're a wonderful cellist, but you know, your cello has to be of the same caliber. We must get you something really quite exceptional." And I said, "Well, of course, absolutely, but it's all down to really, who can actually come up with the hundreds of thousands, to actually pay for it." I said, "Well, we will look for it. We will help you." At the time, I was aware that Boris Pergamenchikov's cello, which is the Montagnana, was actually up for sale. He had passed away just recently before, and I knew the cello well from having had many lessons with Boris, and I knew what an incredible sound the cello had. And I went and tried the cello, and it's actually quite a difficult cello to get to know, and most people who actually tried it actually quickly gave up on it because it's quite hard. And I borrowed it and I tried it and I remember that there was a moment where suddenly I don't know if my hands found how to play on it, or if maybe the cello maybe decided to like me a little bit, but there was a moment where suddenly we kind of became soulmates. Unfortunately, the orchestra decided that they didn't have the funding to buy it, so my heart was totally broken. 6 months later, I was just having dinner with a lady that came to my concert, and she asked me if there was a cello that I really loved, and not aware whether she had any money or not. I said, well, there was this cello, you know, and then she stood up out of the restaurant and said, well, let's go and buy it now. And I just quietly said, but I think you're not aware, it's a lot of money. And then she said, but I'm a very wealthy lady. And I was like, oh, okay, fine. And thus became this story where every day for 2 weeks she would call me and she would say, so, are we gonna go and buy it or not? And I was a little bit apprehensive because I felt like she needed to talk to her family about it, to her husband, to her accountant. But it was still, you know, it's quite an investment. And after 2 weeks she said, David, this is the last time I'm asking you. Either we're going now to buy it or that's it. And this is what happened, and then we got the cello, and I've now been playing on it for the last 17 years.
Amazing. It's already been more than 17 years since he died then.
Yeah.
Time
It
flies.
must be almost 19 years then.
Yeah. Well, glad you told her yes on that final day, right?
Yes.
Great. Most memorable moments on stage?
I mean,
Too many.
there's been so many. Probably one of the first times that I played as a soloist with Rostropovich conducting. Also conducting pieces that kind of were his pieces, you know, like Rococo Variation and Dvorak. And yeah, and I was really young, and so this was my big hero, so I was more nervous about just standing next to him than actually playing the pieces. But I'll never forget that it was a whole 10 days of, you know, day after day after day after day performances. And it's the things that I learned, and you know, from just being with him was just so incredible that it had an effect for me until now, really.
I imagine. Right. Any unique perks of being a cellist?
Yes, I demand to always have the second meal when I'm on the plane. I pay for the ticket, or whoever pays for the ticket. So at least I always get the drinks, that's for sure. But sometimes, you know, I was like, do you mind if I get the second meal, you know?
Have they ever refused it?
Sometimes they laugh. Sometimes they laugh
Okay.
and they think I'm not serious, but actually, I'm a bit hungry, do you mind?
How could they refuse that charm? All right, speaking of meals, any favorite meals?
Ooh. There's so many. Right now I'm going through a real Italian phase. But I just love food in general. That's all. Just not too spicy, that's the only thing. You know? I just can't take, my mouth goes completely blah.
Got it. Favorite color?
Blue.
Favorite number?
7.
3 items you cannot live without?
Well, can they be living items?
Anything.
So it'd be my daughter, my cello, and my iPad.
Fantastic. Cats or dogs?
Dogs. But I love cats also, but I'm a dog person.
Big party or small gathering?
Oh, I love both, but I'm a bit of an introvert actually. So my energy levels tend to dramatically drop down, you know, after like being kind of the party animal for an hour, and then you'll probably find me in the corner of the room just quite happy to just observe what's going on.
Great. Horror or comedy?
Horror.
Passenger or driver?
Driver.
Train or plane?
Train.
Most interesting piece of advice you've ever received?
I know it, but I have to remember exactly what was said to me. Somebody incredibly successful and incredibly wealthy, I mean we're talking hundreds of millions, once told me that for him the most important thing in life was to have options. And he went on to elaborate by saying, if you have 5 euros in your pocket and you're hungry, you don't really have much choice. You're gonna probably go for a Happy Meal at McDonald's. But if you have 50 euros in your pocket, you can still go for a McDonald's.
Very nice. If you could go back in time, is there any advice that you would give to your younger self?
Yes. Even though I actually started performing really early on, and career-wise, and also I got a job really early. I was 19 when I got the principal job at the Philharmonia, and I started teaching really at the same year also the Royal Conservatory. Even though I had those jobs, I carried on my own studies. I carried on doing a master's and etc. And there was a moment where actually I wanted to keep going, studying, doing a PhD, and I did not. And I probably would go back and would probably, encourage myself to keep doing that.
And what would you have done your PhD in?
Actually in psychology, with regard to, performers and musicians.
Where is home for you?
Home is on stage. It's the only place where I feel the most at home.
What's one thing most people don't know about you?
I'm a bit of a DIY expert.
Okay. A recent example?
Oh, there are too many, but I mean, I've installed my own boiler, for instance.
Okay, yeah.
But I did get, a certified plumber to come and check that there was no gas leaks, of course.
Good. Great. Oceans or mountains?
Do I have to choose? But
No.
oceans, I guess, right now, because it's really nice and sunny.
Good. City or countryside? These are the hardest questions for you.
Yeah.
Really?
Wow. They are hard questions because I was kind of a country boy, and then I ended up living,
course.
the second part of my life in the city. If right now I had to choose, I really want to go back to London because I've been on the road for the last 5-6 weeks. So.
Got it. Okay. One more you have to decide. Winter or summer?
Winter.
Who are or were your biggest mentors, and in which ways?
Okay, so my biggest mentor was probably Boris Pergamenchikov, and also my last long-lasting teacher, Oleg Kogan. There were many others who influenced me, but mainly the reasons were not just because of their incredible musicianship or cellistic advice, but because of how kind-hearted they were and how generous they were with their time and their efforts. And for me, this is something that I valued enormously, and I try to pass on to my own students.
If you could perform with anyone, alive or dead, who would it be?
So, well, alive, there's still chances.
Yes, of
I mean,
course.
I
We will
consider
make sure
myself-
this is heard.
That's right, yes. So I'm still kind of young, and I've already been blessed in playing with a lot of people,
Of course.
so I'm happy. I would say, dead is more interesting. So I would say probably Glenn Gould.
Great choice. If you could have any superpower, what would it be?
Oh, I think it'd be definitely flying.
Great. What is the most spontaneous thing you've ever done?
I once, out of the blue, took a flight to declare my love to somebody out of in a whim.
Fantastic. Any advice for today's young cellists building their cello lives?
Don't do it. Don't do it.
I want to say be serious, but I feel like he's being serious here.
It is such a tough world that actually we are in right now. My advice is do what you love doing and never compromise.
That's great. Do you have a life motto?
There are only solutions.
I like it. All right, we've come to the end of the list. Do you mind if I just do a few small stupid
Yeah,
ones? Okay.
Of course, yeah.
Well, this one's actually not stupid at all. What is happiness at this point in your life, let's say?
Happiness is having a lovely cup of coffee somewhere in Tuscany on a Sunday morning in May.
What is something that you've always wanted to do but too scared to try?
Well, I would love to jump off a plane with a parachute, but the problem is I'm scared of heights. I don't think I'll ever have the courage to do it.
Likewise. What is your go-to for having a good laugh?
I guess I just go to some of my friends, and if they're not around, I text them, and often they know what to do, and they send me small memes of some ridiculous thing that has happened.
Memes, huh? Any pre-concert rituals or cures for stage fright?
Actually, no, because I quickly learned when I was young that all these kind of rituals and are kind of there to kind of try and somehow control a situation that is totally out of your own control. So I kind of totally let go, and I just go with the flow, basically.
Great. Favorite city?
San Francisco.
Do you have any hidden or secret talents?
I've got many, but they're secret for a reason.
Oh, good point. Cello competitions, yes or no?
Yes, but with a certain understanding of what you're getting yourself into.
Any guilty pleasures?
Way too much chocolate.
Okay. Spoken like a true Belgian, finally.
Yes.
Facebook or Instagram?
I am moving away from Facebook, actually.
You're getting younger, David.
Especially as somebody once recently, asked to stay in touch with me, and I said, sure, you can, follow me on, you can be Facebook friends, and they laughed. And they said, that's for old people. I'm like, oh my God. So
Yeah.
I'm trying to move on a little bit.
Exactly. iOS or Android?
iOS is Mac, right?
Yeah, Apple.
Yeah. So, yeah, Apple.
Apple. Phone call or text?
I'm a big texter.
Music or podcasts?
Music.
You've answered all our extra questions as well.
Yay!
Thank you.
Thank you, ducks. Look, they were there so quietly, peacefully listening. We serenaded them to death, I think.
Fantastic. Thanks, David.
You're welcome.